Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Miami Book Hub, your home for readers, writers, and resources. I am your host, J. Adrian Betancourt, urban planner by day, author and explorer of all things by night. I'm really excited to have someone I recently met at an event here as my guest. His name is Forrest Jones. He is a writer, a journalist, a man of international intrigue, and of course, an author. You see his book there on the table and behind us, and he's working on another. So I won't say too much other than to welcome you to the program, Forrest. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a really interesting guy.
Oh, well, thank you, Javier. Thanks for having me on the show. So basically, I am the author of the Placebo Agenda. It was inspired for things I saw when I was a journalist in Venezuela. In the 90s, I spent 6 years in Venezuela and Chile. And in 98, I covered the Chavez election. And in 97, I interviewed him at his home. Wow. So I saw writing a book. There were a lot of characters along the way. So writing a book was always one of my plans. And eventually, a couple of years after leaving, I saw some inspiration in a news article about an event in Bolivia where a diplomat asked, I believe it was Peace Corps and Fulbright scholars, to keep an eye out for Cuban doctors, Venezuelan doctors. And you can't do that. They were asking civilians to spy on them. Right. So I took a lot of literary license on that, on the dangers of powerful rogue players, of using unwitting people and governments to go through their agenda. And it could be more dangerous if you underestimate. And that is what hopefully will happen with Street Brewer, my protagonist. So.
Wow. So you've been a writer, it sounds like your entire life, or at least throughout your career. So let's start there. How did you get into writing? How did you find that as
sure.
both a profession and then ultimately as a creative outlet?
Well, I was an English major, so it was always something I did, something I enjoyed. And in 95, I wanted to improve my Spanish. So I went down to Venezuela to teach English on a 6-month contract called the Centro Venezolano Americano. And I went down there and really enjoyed myself. I really liked living abroad, but I wanted more from my overseas experience. So I went to a newspaper called the Daily Journal, which was a daily newspaper complete with a printing press and everything. And they hired me as an international editor. So I would pull stories off the wire and help assemble the newspaper. But I wanted more national experience. I wanted to be in the scrums, the reporters. So a friend of mine said, there is a candidate, a long shot running for president. He's given interviews. If you go there and pick him up, and you're the editor, but you run that, you might get some exposure. And that candidate was Hugo Chavez.
Yeah.
So I called him. I heard of him. I went to his house. He came out. We spent the afternoon talking, and then I published a story. And he shot up in the polls. And then I got picked up by a newswire. It was called Bridge News, which was the marriage of Knight Ridder Financial and a few other assets. It got bought out by Reuters later. So I stayed in Venezuela, then I went to Chile. I spent 6 years in Latin America, what was originally supposed to be 6 months. So the time
Flight extension.
Life. Yeah, and then I came back, worked for Latin Trade magazine, and to this day, my career, journalism has its ups and downs. I went to graduate school, to the Thunderbird program, slowly made my way into marketing, corporate communications, and more recently, I was in Saudi Aramco for 5 years, working for Aramco in the Environmental Protection Department as a communications lead. And so that will probably be, you might see a little bit of that in book 2, which will come out soon.
So you spent the career writing as a journalist.
Yeah.
And then corporate communications. How did you then transition into fiction writing?
Well, I started writing fiction, short stories in my spare time in the mid-2000s. And a coworker told me about John Dufresne's Friday Night Writers Group at FIU. So I went down there and started submitting my short stories at the time. It was about 20 years ago. And kind of learn the craft, learn about how to create a character, learn how to create a plot, do's and don'ts, just by doing it and getting good insight from, if anyone's going to drive across town in Miami on a Friday to go to a workshop, they want to be there. Yeah. So, over the years, it was always something I wanted to do. And I started toying around with the placebo agenda, finished it in the in the pandemic. Published it in 2021, but it's more relevant now
Yeah.
with events with Venezuela and Iran. So and then
I imagine you pull a lot from your experiences, right?
correct,
Into
yeah.
this. Yeah. So there's got to be I know it's fiction,
Yeah.
but there's must be a level of authenticity, associated with the story. How much of the story can you share? Tell us a little more about what it's about.
The Placebo Agenda, sure. So there's Street Brewer. That's my protagonist. He's about 30. He used to live in Venezuela as a wire reporter. So I drew that from my own experience. But as part of writing, you develop the character. I interview them as if I were a reporter, and they kind of grow legs and become their own. Then I took events from Venezuela, events from Bolivia, and used them to kind of like launch it off. And then you get literary license when you put the protagonist through trouble and, put him on the end of a rope, then it becomes more of a fiction type deal. But the events and some of the people that go into the characters do come from real life. And that's true of a lot of people. So a lot of writers. So,
and again, without giving away too much, what does Placebo Agenda mean? Like, how is that significant?
Placebo Agenda is actually mentioned in the book. It's called the Placebo Agenda. It is I don't want to give away too much,
Right.
but the writer discovered he's an unwitting pawn in a plot in which rogue actors, energy, CIA, rogue play, not agents, nothing institutional, rogue concoct a scheme where they take advantage of an unstable Venezuelan president to manipulate politics, energy, things like that. But they need unwitting participants. Gotcha. They're called placebos.
Gotcha. Okay.
And there's several in the book. And it's very dangerous what they're doing. But like I said, when someone who's a pawn turns against you, it gets even more dangerous. So that's in essence, without spoiling it too much.
Yeah, of course.
That's the Placebo Agenda. Yeah.
So speaking of that, you've been to some dangerous places.
Yeah.
And been around some dangerous characters.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt personally threatened, either as a journalist or in writing this book? Like, upset somebody that maybe thought you were getting a little too close to something?
Yeah, not really. I mean, living in Caracas was dangerous. I did get robbed there.
Just in and of itself. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was street crime. Sometimes someone called, but it wasn't against it was about a energy minister said something about one of his state-run assets, and he was like, "Did he really say that?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, we have the tape, but not really." I never felt too threatened. That wasn't really my story. So,
Okay.
I watch over your shoulder,
Sure.
You never know who's watching over your shoulder, but I never felt threatened when I was down there. Yeah.
Good.
So,
Good to know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or at least that you could tell me.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Now you're living in Miami now.
Correct.
Are you originally from here?
Well, I was born in South Carolina.
Okay.
We moved here when I was 14.
Yeah.
When I started high
Pick
school.
up just a slight bit of an accent. Yeah. So. Okay.
Yeah. 14. So I just old enough to keep a little bit, young enough to lose some. So Miami's been home. Like I went to Venezuela, Chile. I went to grad school in Arizona. I go back to South Carolina, Saudi Arabia. So I'm
Man of the world.
Man of the world. Born in South Carolina, but I hail from Miami. I'm like a boxer. Yeah. So Miami's home.
You're Miami native by our standards.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm local. So.
And how much of Miami features in the book?
A lot, actually, because one of the places one of the place of employment where Street Brewer, the character works, is a local Miami newspaper, which that wasn't really inspired by any of my old employment places.
Mm-hmm.
But it's key because Miami is a jumping off point to Latin America.
Yeah.
So the paper's called The Gateway.
Perfect. Yeah.
But so these placebos are chosen in part due to geography. So there's 3 in the book. So
I think Miami is a perfect place to start any thriller. I mean, it's so believable, and there's so much to choose from here. There's so many plot points. Just when you open up the newspaper, 10 ideas come to you. I mean, Carl Hyacinth's built a whole career around it, right?
Yeah, I know. I love reading his books. The way he just relishes in it sometimes. You can see this. But Miami's great. You're never at a loss for scene, for politics, people, and place. So
that's true. Even our characters here, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you have to stop reading the paper because you'll get inspired, and go on to another topic. So yeah, so Miami's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like, because you're writing based on your real experiences, is reality becoming stranger than fiction? I feel that way. I feel like, you watch the news, you see what's going on. It's like, you couldn't have written this as a fiction and it been believable. Like it's too far-fetched, and yet here it is happening.
Without a doubt, yeah. Reality's always fiction's a reflection of reality.
Sure.
The humanity that goes in the characters, and what makes the villains tick, what makes the character, why they do the things, is based on reality. But there's so many times, like, this is obviously based on real people and real events, but sometimes I'll watch the news, I'm like, I can't do this, Yeah. So yeah.
Now you've been in places where you've seen what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Sometimes what we see is as surreal as it is already.
Yeah.
What ends up in the news or on social media. It's even crazier sometimes to think about what's actually happening.
Yeah.
And you've, I imagine, been privy to some of that.
Yeah.
Is the world what it seems? Or are we reading too much into things, and are conspiracy theories just that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a big proponent of conspiracy theories, but there's a lot that goes on that we don't see.
Yeah.
You'll see a president going on a bombastic, fiery speech, and then a few minutes later meet with New York bondholders saying, "Hey, I'm going to pay my coupon." You'll see lawmakers in Venezuela. We were able to walk on the floor of Congress, doing their pitches, their spiel and everything, and then you see them talking to each other. I remember one lawmaker late at night from the left went and bought snacks for everyone. And they were passing out chips and everything on the floor, regardless of party.
It's funny, at the end of the day, we're all just humans.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
When the cameras come off, and you don't have to, I guess, pretend to be something. At the end of the day, you're just three guys or people in a room, and you start to act as humans, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now, things do go south quickly.
Yeah, sure.
And then humans will turn on each other.
Part of being human.
Part of being human, yeah. So, yeah, the darker part, you would see, wow. And, jailings are worse go on.
Sure.
Unfortunately, can be very tragic to the expense of a country.
Now, given your exposure to the world and against some of these characters, and are you generally an optimist, or have you become more pessimistic, more cynical through life, having been exposed to a lot of this? Or
I'm so healthy skeptic, not cynical at all. I can be skeptical, not cynical. Like if something raises a red flag, I won't reject it. I'll go look at it. You were right, or not. No, but an optimist. Yeah, I think things are going to work out.
Yeah,
they tend to.
Good. We need a little more optimism.
We do need some optimism. Pure optimists with a healthy dose of skepticism, not cynicism at all.
Well, and as a journalist, you need to hang on to that skepticism, right? That's kind of a key ingredient.
You do, yeah. You do, yeah. It's not hard. So, you got to hang on. A lot of people are like, well, how do you say, healthily skeptical? Because you want to. If someone's making a ton of money not to be skeptical,
sure,
they're not journalists anymore. So yeah.
So I understand you're writing a second book. It's called Uncovered.
Uncovered.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, Uncovered will be the same. It's standalone, but it'll be the same protagonist, street brewer, and he will travel to Saudi Arabia.
So is that considered a series, or is it?
That's my plan. I like to keep the same protagonists. Right. And he was a journalist, and he is finding his way in this new world, and he will travel to Saudi Arabia, which I'll glean from what I saw over there, which is a fascinating country full of wonderful people. And he's gonna go on a different type of adventure, but it's more of a character-driven thriller. Mm-hmm. My protagonist is not like a former Special Forces Navy SEAL with a chip on his shoulder. He's more of an everyman with extraordinary, at times, capabilities that the villains don't see. But it'll be the Saudi Arabia is going to be fascinating. So again, I watch the news. I'm like, please. So
I feel, as I've written my book, so hopefully will be published in the coming months, that
nice.
the world is getting ahead. Like I wrote us about something 2 years ago, and now I'm watching TV and I see it on TV. I'm like, they're all stealing my ideas.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if like ChatGPT is just taking the ideas I wrote and sharing it with the world.
Yeah, passing it to policymakers.
Or are we all just pulling from like the same thing?
No, I wrote this 6 years ago.
6 years.
And it is more relevant now. There's, I want to spoil it, but one of the players is Iran, Russia, Venezuela. I mean, it's unfolding now. And the second one is Saudi Arabia. Yeah, you do feel, you get that, you know, wow, I wrote about this. You want to go scream to the world. Here it is, you know, but yeah, it's all part of it.
Scream away.
Scream away, yeah. So, you know, as I tell people, well, if you want to know what's going to happen, read this or
there you go.
Watch the news. So yeah. Funny enough, though, when I started this years ago, and Chavez died in 2013. So there was a president in there. So I had to recalibrate it, basically by switching a point of view to his number 6 man. So fortunately I never, but you know, that happens. If you rip too much from the news, it can be stressful.
Sure.
Because the news changes. So character first.
Did you ever anticipate that Maduro would have succeeded Chavez?
No, I did not. I was not in Venezuela at the time. I think I do remember him when I was there. I was there at the press conference when Chavez launched his campaign. And, but that said, in the book, I give the president of Venezuela doesn't have a name.
Right.
He's just the president of Venezuela. If you're going to run a spectacularly irresponsible economic policy where 80% of your revenue comes on oil and you don't set the price of it and your stuff is super heavy and sour, it doesn't matter who you are. You're going to have disastrous results. Yeah. So
that's how it's played out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what did you learn in writing your first book that I guess you're now incorporating into your second book, either in terms of being a writer or even the story itself? Like, I imagine you've taken lessons,
absolutely,
that you're now kind of polishing, you know, as you move forward.
Right. You learn your protagonist more. That keeps going, and it will keep going. He's complex. He's deep. You learn that more. You learn. You see in advance things that you're going to delete. You know, the first book, you put all this stuff down. You try to keep it all, which is natural. You know, this is brilliant, and it's really not. And smaller characters, I think I notice, where they're more important than you would think when you're writing. Even non-point of view characters, give them the attention, develop them a lot, even if they're only going to be there shortly. Let's see what else. Pay attention to the news, read a lot, get people to find a good group of people to read it. What I've found interesting is some people at my writer's workshop give amazing insights, and they might not write what you do. So get insights from people who are going to give you tough insights, multiple perspectives. Yeah. From people who are going to be tough with it. So, yeah. And then what I do is I write it all down at first, just get it out. Then I do an outline.
Okay.
And then I change the outline, then I throw it away, and then I write it. It's a messy affair. And
everyone has their process.
Yeah. It's like sculpting. You're like, well, I guess it's finished. You know, no, not that. No, you work at it. And then I interview my characters, you know, as if I were a reporter, you talking to me, you know, talk to the villain. Why did you do it? You know, you get to know him, and that breathes life into it. So, so that I keep doing, in Uncovered coming out. So, yeah, so keep doing that and watch the little things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something I find that tends to be common across authors, especially those writing fiction, is that they're expressing kind of their own, what's the word here? Their own issues through their characters and through their story. Like it's actually an exercise in therapy. Yeah. Right. Did you find that, or are there kind of demons or trauma that you're kind of exercising through this story and through your characters?
Without a doubt.
And did you know it when you were writing it, or did you go back and then start realizing some of these things? That's what I find. It's like I didn't even realize I was doing it at the time.
Yeah.
And it occurs to me later.
Well, yeah, I mean, at both.
Yeah.
The challenges facing the protagonists,
Mhm.
I drew from real life. We live in Miami. It's a beautiful city, just out of reach for a lot of us. He's struggling financially, and that's true of Miami or any city,
Sure.
and you want to make it and you want to do the right thing. And, he has a past, former decisions affected his professional life. So that I can relate to, but yeah, when he goes through the arc, you realize yourself you're going through it with him, and hopefully the reader will too. That's
Mhm.
key. If you make it universal
Sure.
and something you don't want to talk about, we all go through like
Right.
something deep. Um, that I choose to have. You don't have to have an arc. Like some of the great mysteries. You don't really care if you want them to solve the mystery.
Mhm.
But for this thriller, I want him to change a little bit, go a little deeper.
Right.
And you realize that you've done that by writing it. You're kind of like, I'm strong. I'm stronger for having made it through it.
Yeah.
Through that. So yeah. So without a doubt, yeah, it's good stuff.
And you mentioned earlier you encourage people to read. What authors, what books have inspired you?
I like Daniel Silva. Everything. Read a little of everything.
Yeah.
You read the Clancy's,
Love Clancy.
Yeah, you read the Le Carre, Daniel Silva, a few more I'm probably forgetting. Ludlum. Read everything in your genre, but then read other stuff. I just wrote even though it's sort of the unbearable lightness of being. Short stories from the Paris Review, local authors. Just read a lot. Now, granted, you're going to have a lot of time. Your reading time, you're going to be writing,
Sure,
cranking out that book. But find time to read, and just keep at it.
And like any good author, again, it's particularly one writing in this genre. You've imagined this as a movie or as a TV series, no doubt.
Yes.
Have you thought about the actors that you want to play, particularly your protagonist?
Yeah, you do. You go through there. You think about it. One writer, I forget who told me, like when you write, pick actors in your book. Mine were already done. Mine are real people. So I mean, I've got Chavez screaming down them. So, but not all real people. But on that note, you might start off with real people with actors, but they're gonna grow,
sure,
and become their own, and you see different people. But yeah, I'd love for these to be a series. I don't know who would play it, but yeah, it'd be great. That would be a dream come true. Seeing your characters.
Sure.
And I don't think you give it up control. It'd be an honor to see talented people adapt your characters, your plots, your book to the big screen and see how they do it.
Have you explored that business at all?
I've spoken to a few
do you want
people.
to get the series kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to you. You network, speak to a few people. They express interest. It hasn't gone anywhere, but no one said no. But I played around with it. I did complete a storyline, a pitch deck, but it hasn't grown legs yet. So, but yeah, that would always
There's a lot of competition.
Yeah, a lot. Exactly. Yeah.
And connections.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Maybe if we were in LA, it'd be a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'll just keep writing book, focus on the product.
Yeah.
And that will take care of itself. So.
Now, did you go traditional publishing with your first book?
This one I went with, this is self-published, but technology's changed it. It's called Book Baby.
Yeah. So I'm doing Book Baby.
Oh, you do Book Baby? Yeah. It's great. They put it through all the platforms.
Right.
So,
but it still remains your.
I own the rights. So technically it's self-published. I still own the rights, but Book Baby has been very convenient. So the second book, I'll try with an agent again. This one was done during the pandemic. The world was shut down. We didn't know what was going on. Book Baby looked good. And the second one, I'll send it to agents, of course. It's finished. I'm just cutting it down.
Okay.
So I'll go that route. But if no one bites, then
you have that other option.
I have that other option. Technology really does it. So
so you had a good experience with them?
With Book Baby, yeah, sure.
Yeah, what do they do for editing, cover design, the whole 9 yards?
They do the whole 9 yards. They have editing service, but I went with editors that I found networking. Okay. When I went to the Iowa's workshop, they knew what they do. So I got them to edit it down But they did the layout. They did the cover.
Cover looks great. I love it.
The cover's great.
Yeah.
You can ask them to do a cover, or you can say what you want. And I said,
Right.
well, when each element is mentioned in the book, you can see the Petare section of Venezuela. They did all that. It was really good. I'm happy with it. So yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think I've talked about Book Baby on the program before. So let's just speak a little more about that so that people can learn from it. And
okay.
So they'll do editing if you wish for.
They'll do the editing.
The different types of editing. They do the cover design. They do the book design itself.
Right.
And then let's talk about the distribution, because I'm not there yet, and I'm curious as to how that works. So once they finish the book and they're able to, print it. How does that end of it work?
They print it. They prepare it for distribution on Amazon, for Apple Books, Barnes and Noble Books, a few others. They make it through with the distribution channels. Fierce. I don't know if they're working with Ingram. They used to. Yeah,
I believe they are. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's available, and then people can, if they order, they'll procure it. You pay for it up front. You get most of your royalties. You get more royalties if you go through Book Baby, but most people go through Amazon.
Because they also give you your own website.
Yeah, you got your own little page,
shop,
right? Your shop and that, and it was real convenient. And I think if you're looking to go that route, it is a one-stop shop that may be a little more costly than other options. But I did not want to lay it out and learn. I wanted professionals to do it.
Right. And very upfront about.
They're very upfront, yeah, and they're good. If you have a question, they're there on the phone.
Yeah.
And they respond to emails, and then part of that you get Google ads, LinkedIn ads, or I forget, and all the tools to market it. Now, you pay for those.
Sure.
But I found it to be a wonderful procurement tool. And then they have a dashboard. You can see your sales broken down by distributor. And then they cut you a check quarterly, periodically. Amazon might buy a big chunk of your books to have, and you're like, well, I don't recall selling all this. But they're buying it. So when Amazon sells it, if you might have friends who say, hey, I just bought 3 of your books, and then you don't see the royalty check, that means you already got it.
I see.
Ahead of time. But they explain it all real there. So I was very happy with it. Yeah.
Did your books end up in stores themselves or just online?
I saw it at Books and Books once. I recently got it in the Miami-Dade library system.
Oh, great.
Most of them it's print order.
Okay.
But it can be available in stores. Book Baby does work with the distribution channels around the world. So so you can get it in a bookstore, and that was a dream come true. Seeing it at Books and Books on the shelf.
Yeah.
Just so I'm Forrest Jones. I believe I was over Shirley Jackson, or I'm in good company now.
I'm sure that got a selfie, right?
Oh, I was like, everyone clear out. So,
would anyone like the sign?
So I'm like, this one right here. So that was a good feeling. So
excellent.
Yeah, it was good.
Forrest, believe it or not, 30 minutes sounds like a lot of time, but it isn't, and we're running out of it. Any last words? And please let people know where they can find more information about your book and purchase it.
Well, you can find on any of the major channels. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Apple. Go to your local bookstore and ask for it to be delivered. You can go to my website, contentbyforrest.com. There I have a section where you can get the book and get it now. It's very relevant now. So
it is.
So yeah, any channel, the Placebo Agenda, not the Placebo Effect.
I knew that sounded familiar.
Self-help book. Yeah, okay. No. So I'm sure it's a great book. Yeah. It really is. But the Placebo Agenda, it's available, and so I hope people enjoy it, and I really appreciate it.
Wonderful. Well, listen, thank you for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope you continue to stay safe in your international adventures. Stay out of harm's way. And once you publish your next book, come on back and we'll talk a little more about that one.
Absolutely. It'd be my pleasure.
Wonderful. Well, folks, that's all the time we have here on the Miami Book Hub. I want to thank our partners in this, Miami's community newspapers, for producing and hosting us here in these lovely studios. Special thanks to Emily behind the camera over there. She does all the magic. And I want to thank you for tuning in. If you like the program, please like it, please share it, please follow us. And keep coming back. We have some great guest authors. The head of the library is actually going to be on in a couple of weeks. So we're looking forward to those discussions. So please come on back. And until then, keep reading, keep writing, and stay curious, Miami.